cleaner air into southern Manitoba. It won't be immediate. It will take some time to get that mixing happening. So do expect that as we get into the day on Friday, we are still contending with some smoke in the morning, more like a smoky, hazy afternoon, I think, once again. So air quality warning still in place for the Inner Lake, the city of Winnipeg, where that shift in wind has started to happen. We've seen those warnings dropped into the Parkland, into the Swan Valley, but now we have a heat warning in place because of a ridge of high pressure building in the jet streams, surging temperatures in parts of Saskatchewan and into northwestern Manitoba. Mostly sunny skies as that high pressure begins to make its way into the province. Couple little stray thunderstorms here and there into parts of northeastern Manitoba. But overall, pretty seasonal today. 25 in Winnipeg, 26 in Swan River, and where those heat warnings are in place, closer to that 30-degree mark. We'll talk about the weekend forecast and when we could see some improvement in air quality when I come back.
Thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
He spent years on the run. Now, decades later, this convicted killer is going to prison. More on the cold case that finally has an ending. Straight ahead. A new survey suggests Manitoba has a ways to go if it really wants to be the Costco of critical minerals. A conservative think tank says this province is less attractive to mining companies than it was a year ago. CBC's Bartley Kivas reports.
Manitoba is like the Costco of critical minerals.
Former Manitoba Premier Heather Stephenson and the current NDP government have both called Manitoba the Costco of critical minerals. While Manitoba has minerals in the ground, there are only 4 active mines in the province. And earlier this week, the conservative Fraser Institute suggested Manitoba is now less attractive for mining companies to invest. Fraser ranks Manitoba number 23 among mining jurisdictions around the world, down from number 6 last year. This is based on a survey of mining company executives, some of whom complained about the approvals process. The survey quotes one mining company president as saying a long list of roadblocks makes it difficult to explore new ground. The minister responsible for mining wouldn't say what he thinks of the report, but noted the survey was conducted before construction started on the Alamus Gold Project near Lynn Lake.
Look, we have actually done more than the previous governments have. We've opened up a new generational gold mine in the province. That's something the previous government couldn't say.
The Alamus gold mines were approved when the Progressive Conservatives were in power.
Sounds like the way of the NDP taking credit for other people's work.
The Alamus gold mine is slated to begin operating in 2028. Bartley Kivas, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A Manitoba man who admitted to strangling a woman to death in New Jersey will spend the next 10 years in a U.S. prison, bringing an end to a cold case that remained unsolved for nearly 30 years.
For 27 years, her killer was out running free while we were all in prison. I don't sleep without nightmares of her death.
Tammy Tigner's friends and family were in the courtroom for Robert Creeder's sentencing. Tigner was 23 when her body was found in November '97 in Washington Valley Park in Bridgewater Township. No suspects were identified at the time, and the case went cold. Creeder pleaded guilty to the killing earlier this year. He was arrested in Winnipeg and extradited to the U.S. last year. Advanced DNA testing helped solve the cold case. When given the chance to speak in court, Creeder apologized to Tigner's friends and family.
Take that day back, I would, Your Honor. It wasn't planned. I never meant to hurt anybody. It's just a bad situation. Got out of hand, and I made the worst decision of my life. If I could take it back, I would. I apologize.
Creeder's sentence was decided through a plea deal. The judge says she hopes he won't be released once he's eligible for parole in 8.5 years. Well, it's hard to ignore and even harder to escape. Wildfire smoke forced the cancellation of an outdoor summer event for hundreds of children today in Winnipeg. And the city has partnered with community centres to offer space for people looking to breathe clean air. CBC's Cameron McLean has more.
These kids should be playing outside. The Boys and Girls Club of Winnipeg and the Canadian Tire Jumpstart charity had planned field games for about 600 children. But with the Air Quality Health Index at 10+, the highest it can go, programming director Michelle Schmidt says they had to make a difficult decision.
Air quality has been something that's been on our radar in the last few years, and we want to make sure our participants, our children and youth we serve are safe, our staff are safe, and we don't want to put anybody at risk.
It isn't the only program that has had to keep kids indoors.
Community centers are already adapting their operations. Staff here at the Luxton Community Center say for the first time they're monitoring the Air Quality Health Index every day and recording every time they had to move programming indoors due to the smoke.
The center has also made its space available as a clean air center for people concerned about breathing the smoky air. 4 Winnipeg community centers, Bronx Park, East Elmwood, Luxton, and Riverview, have volunteered their spaces to give people places to escape the smoke and the heat. Laura Maisman, head of the General Council of Winnipeg Community Centers, says they don't track how many people have used the space.
We don't ask, why are you here? We just make sure that they're safe and that there's space for them to relax. And it's usually just for, half an hour, 1 hour at a time. It's not long term.
Last year, the city ran a simulation of a clean air center with Red Cross staff on hand. Those same resources aren't available in these clean air centers. Emergency Measures Coordinator Mike Olchuk says their focus this year has been mainly on helping wildfire evacuees.
Unfortunately, this has been somewhat of an unprecedented year with respect to poor air quality and what we've seen with the extent of wildfires throughout central and northern Manitoba.
Environment Canada says Winnipeg summers have gotten smokier, a trend that could continue into the future. City of Winnipeg officials say they'll review their policies at the end of this season to decide what other supports clean air centres like the East Elmwood Community Centre might need. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Riley's back in now. And Riley, we've said this before, but sometimes we feel like broken records.
I know.
And I feel like that this summer when we're talking about all of the smoke and the impacts that we're seeing so widespread.
Yeah, it's not just Manitoba, it's not just Saskatchewan, not just northwestern Ontario. It goes well beyond that. I'm going to show you an image. This is taken earlier today. This is visible satellite, so images that are taken directly from space using satellites. So this shows us, during the daytime at least, how widespread some of this smoke is. And you have to kind of look at some of this haziness here, this sort of milky color against the map on Manitoba and parts of Saskatchewan. This is all of that wildfire smoke. This here is some of that thunderstorm activity that rolled through earlier through the Island Lake region, but you can see how far south this reaches, well down into the U.S. Midwest, into parts of Ontario, and even reaching into parts of Quebec. This area of smoke just blanketing parts of eastern Canada. That's all because of the upper level winds. So we have this ridge that's built in the jet stream here. This is allowing some of that very hot air into western parts of the country, through Alberta, into Saskatchewan, even into northern Manitoba. But some of that smoke riding along this trough in the jet stream here are upper level winds and picking it up and just shuffling it further and further east. So here's a sense that where the air quality warnings and statements are in place through Manitoba, right through the Midwest, with part of southern Ontario under an air quality statement as well. So very far reaching. At the surface, high pressure has started to readjust our flow here back into a more southerly flow, and that should help mix things up a bit as we get through the next 24 hours or so here in southern Manitoba. Weak surface trough has triggered a few showers, some thunderstorms along the Manitoba-Ontario border, even into the Island Lake region throughout the day. Certainly will take the rain, but we don't want the lightning strikes that come with that. For the rest of us, though, that ridge of high pressure really clearing us out. Sunny skies as we head through Friday into Saturday. Our next feature, a cold front along an area of low pressure. This could trigger some showers as we get Saturday into Sunday, maybe even a few rumbles of thunder as we get some competing air masses here as we get through into Sunday. Anywhere, say, Thompson and north, even I think as far east as Shamattawa has a chance of showers as we get through Saturday, and certainly into the early morning hours on Sunday. So that switch in winds to a more southerly flow with that ridge setting in does a couple of things. First off, it does mix our atmosphere a bit. So still looking at high air quality health index readings into the morning, likely at that 10 plus. But as we get the southerly wind, that does start to disperse things a bit, and we'll see some improvement. Unfortunately, though, that does send the smoke a little bit further north. So we're looking at extremely poor air quality for places like Thompson, through Gillam, into Shamattawa as we get through into the day on Saturday. And this does stay in place as we get into the coming days. So do expect very poor air quality for parts of northern Manitoba continuing. Some very hot temperatures as well. The Paw at 31 degrees, 32 in Thompson, Brittany, into Friday afternoon, and temperatures close to the 30 mark in southern Manitoba as well.
Thanks, Riley.
You're welcome.
He's normally out trolling for his next big catch, but this fisherman takes the bait on a campaign to troll him. That story straight ahead.
All right, Bombers and Argos tomorrow, 7:30. It's a home game for us, and we are looking at a pretty pleasant night for some football, although still expect some smoke and some haze in the air as we head into the evening hours. So at kickoff, 25 degrees, very warm, light southerly wind, 23 degrees by halftime. So not a low chance precipitation, no chance precipitation tomorrow. We're looking at a very dry pattern setting in here. This is Emma, who loves her morning walks. Thank you, Keith, for sending this picture, and you can send yours to talkback@cbc.ca. 27 by the afternoon, air quality health index readings starting the day up at around a 10, likely seeing that drop closer to a 7 or an 8, maybe even a 6 by the time we get into the evening with that switch in wind to a more southerly flow. 27s right through the weekend, 28 into the long weekend on Monday, and then we have a chance of showers as we get into Wednesday of next week. A Manitoba man who's the punchline of an ongoing and very public joke is turning his local fame into a fundraiser.
Steve Peters, better known to his friends as Bubba, received a random call about a year ago. A friend who spotted something unusual on the side of the road in Morden. It was a sign taunting him. Bubba is tonight's Daily Lift. Okay, this sign saying Bubba sucks at fishing popped up in Morden about a year ago. Steve Peters wasn't sure if it was about him until 2 weeks later, another sign popped up. It read, "There are two types of people, ones who can fish and Steve Peters." So there was no doubt it was definitely meant for him. The signs kept coming, each one taking aim at him.
I thought it was absolutely hilarious. I'm a kind of person that loves to see the silver lining in everything. So yeah, when I seen the sign, I laughed very hard because I thought it was hilarious. And it's just kind of gone from there. If you can't make fun of yourself, you're missing out on a lot.
Yeah, that's very true. He decided to turn it into something worthwhile, posting on Facebook and sending out a challenge saying for every like or share he got, he would donate $1. His friends jumped in too. They launched a tongue-in-cheek t-shirt line bearing the slogan, "Bubba sucks at fishing." They managed to buy rods and reels for 8 children in the community and plan to hand out 10 to 20 more at an upcoming parade in Winkler.
So Bubba told me he also changed jobs and was working in Winkler now, and the signs have started popping up there as well, and he has no idea who's done it. So
not sure how I'd feel like being on a billboard.
But you know what? A great prank, pretty harmless, and taking it a good stride.
Yeah, doing some good.
Have a great night. We'll see you next.
See ya.